Welcome to Crochet 101. For all other videos in this series and more information about this series, you can go to the Crochet 101 playlist in my profile. In our last lesson, we covered all the most basic tools that you need for the basic crochet lessons. In this video, we're going to chat through a couple of quick tips and tricks for helping you succeed with our crochet lessons. First and foremost, you are going to be asking yourself, why are my hands so stupid? You are learning a whole different way of using your hands, especially if you've never done any kind of fiber arts before. This is going to be very different for you. Every single person who you've seen make really cool things with crochet had a moment where they asked themselves why their hands are so stupid. Everyone had problems when they first started out. You just have to fight through it and get the muscle memory for what you're doing, which is why I recommend, and this is the great thing about fiber arts, doing a technique like chaining, single crochet, a half double, all the things we're going to cover, and then unraveling what you did and doing it again. Yarn is so friendly to you doing something again. It's called frogging it. We have a cute name for undoing your work because that's how many times you're going to be undoing it. So get used to making yourself a little swatch of single crochet and then frogging it by unraveling the whole thing and then doing it again. If you are kind to your yarn when you're doing this, you are going to be able to use it multiple times to practice the same skill. On that note, practice makes perfect and practicing will make you good. However, take care of your instruments, take care of your hands, take care of your back, take care of your arms. I have some support pillows that I use occasionally, especially if I'm doing a long crochet session. And in the lesson where I talk about like additional tools that would be helpful for crocheting, I'll go over like pillows that you can use to kind of support you as you crochet. But the moment that your hands start to say that they're fatigued or tired, especially when you first start out, that's the time to stop. Not when they hurt, but when you start to think that they're getting a little bit worn out. It is not worth it to injure yourself and make it so you can never crochet again, just so you can do a few more rows that night. Take care of these beauties. They're going to make beautiful things, so take care of them. I chatted through this briefly before, but don't feel like you have to become a yarn collector to be a crocheter, especially until you figure out what kind of crocheting you like to do. Maybe you love working with blanket yarn or plush yarn. Maybe you hate it. Don't buy a bunch of yarn until you figure out what kind of projects you're going to be interested in making. Have a plan when you go to a yarn store. If you see some of those like funky, fun yarns with like fun textures and all that, remember those are really difficult to work with, even for the most seasoned crocheters. So just think before you purchase. Don't create a situation where you have a tub of yarn that you have no purpose for. I have a million more tips and tricks that I could give and that I will give along the way, but my last one for this quick little pre-crocheting lesson is going to be find your local community. TikTok and YouTube and all these other social media sites are great for like finding your digital community of makers, but there are so many community centers and libraries and local yarn stores that have knitting, crocheting yarn clubs, that have get-togethers where you can see people doing things in person, where you can potentially get lessons in person, where you can see cool projects in person. That I highly recommend you seek out those sources in your community. Your local yarn store, yes, their yarn is going to be more expensive, but it is incredibly important to support them and help them be a community center for all of us fiber art loving people. I promise you so many other tips and tricks to come, but in the meantime, next lesson we are going to chat over slip knots and chaining. I'll see you then.